Hey everyone, it's Amy here and welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be a review, swatches, and a demo of a brand new foundation from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and this is the stick foundation. I was super excited. This has been so hyped up online and on Instagram. I was so excited to get my hands on this when these released last week. I got foundation, I got the banana stick, I got the contour stick, I got it all because I was super excited about these and they looked really promising. So today is going to be my review and swatches, and there will be a demo playing throughout of me putting on all the products as far as the foundation, using the banana stick as a highlighter and using one of the contour sticks as an actual bronzer and contour on my face. So you will see that playing as I start talking. Let me go ahead and read you some information off of Sephora's website of what this product entails and the cost and things like that. It is available currently right now on Anastasia Beverly Hills website. That is where I had purchased mine. Right now it's showing up at Sephora, but it's saying coming soon, so I'm guessing in the next week or so it will release online. However, I have seen it in stores at Sephora and Ulta so far, but in very limited quantities, or it was completely sold out already. So you do get a decent amount of product for it being a stick foundation. You get 0.35 ounces for $25, and that's definitely a better size and price compared to the other competitors, of which I both have in my collection, and that's the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Invisible Cover Stick Foundation. That one you get 0.44 ounces, so you do get a little bit more product, but it's $43, so it's not even double the size, and it's almost double the price. So do keep that in mind. And then I also have the new Hourglass Vanish Seamless Finish Foundation, which I absolutely love. Not super crazy about the Makeup Forever one for pretty much the same reasons. I'm not crazy for this one as a foundation, but for Hourglass you do get 0.25 ounces for $46. So that one I've done a review on. You get very minimal product for an extremely expensive price. However, I will say hands down that Hourglass one, spoiler, is amazing, wonderful, and totally beats this one out of the water. But as far as the quantity and the price, I do think it's a very good price for a foundation. As a contour, I do love it as a contour stick. It is on the pricier side if you are only going to purchase it as a contour stick, but for a stick foundation, I do think it's a really good size and price that they did match that up pretty well. So again, let me read you some information off of Sephora's website. There is a huge range of colors in this collection, which I think is really fantastic. You can find pictures on Anastasia's website or on Instagram from Trend Mood. They did a whole color wheel as far as what undertones you are, what shades you are, and so it was really helpful. Still, I think it's easier to go in store and get matched if you can. However, that color wheel that they have, and I'm sure it's going to be on Sephora's website eventually, is really helpful to say, okay, I'm a fair skin or I'm a light skin, and then look for the undertone you want, and then there's a shade for that. And they have very light shades that are coming out or did just get released on Anastasia's website. I think the official lightest shades got released too, and then really deep shades as well, which is awesome. And then they did come out with 4 cream highlighter and contour shades. There's the banana shade, which I do have, and then there's 3 contour shades, which we will get into a little later on. So first, it says it's a multitasking medium to full coverage stick foundation. The highly pigmented buildable cream stick foundation creates a natural looking matte finish, ideal for all skin tones and combination to oily skin types. It's easy to layer and delivers medium to full coverage with a smooth finish. It's perfect for all over coverage, touch-ups, or highlighting and contouring. So it has a lot of claims that I can't really get on board with, so we're going to talk about using these sticks as a foundation first. So first, it says it's a multitasking medium to full coverage stick foundation. I do agree it's multitasking because you can use it as foundation, you can use it as a concealer, you can use it as a contour. I totally agree with that. It says it's a medium to full coverage. I find, for me personally, and I think you can tell in the demo, this is honestly a light medium coverage that even when I try to build it up, I barely get it to a medium coverage, and I'm not getting beyond that. And most of the time, it just feels like I'm putting on product and it's going nowhere, and it's not giving added coverage. It's not covering up redness or anything. So I don't think it's a medium to full coverage. I'd say it's a medium, but on the lighter medium side and barely buildable to a medium. So definitely not full coverage. So it also says that it's highly pigmented. I do agree with that. You can tell it's very saturated and opaque and very pigmented. It also says it's natural looking matte finish, and that's true. It does have a natural matte finish. It's not luminous luminous, but it's not suck your face dry kind of matte. It's kind of in between where it's just a natural matte finish where it's more of like a demi-matte or a semi-matte is what I would consider it. It gives a really nice, beautiful finish. I do like that. It has a very similar finish to the Hourglass foundation. I find that the Makeup Forever foundation's a little bit more dewy and luminous compared to this one, that this one is a little bit more natural matte. And then it says it's ideal for all skin tones, especially for those oily and combination skin types. And that is totally what drew me into this foundation. I was like, yes, they're saying this foundation is meant for combo and oily skin. This is gonna be awesome. I don't have to use primers. I don't have to set it. That wasn't really the case. I will take you in a second day by day of the week that I tried this out with different techniques, but it also says that it has a smooth finish, all over coverage, and that it's really easy to blend. I do think it is easy to blend. The only way that I think it's easy to blend is if you use a really, really dense brush. I tried using it with the Beauty Blender and it tends to be very patchy and just tugs at your skin, and it can be really hard to blend out. The only area that it was worthwhile using a beauty sponge of some sort is underneath the eyes if you use it as a concealer with that banana shade. Otherwise, the easiest way, which it glides onto the skin if you use a dense brush. And so the brush that I was always using was the Morphe M444. This one is much more dense than the Morphe 439, and that's what really makes it, as you can see in the demo, just glide. I also think, I don't have any in my collection, but I think if you have any oval dense brushes or Artiste brushes or anything like that, that those would also be really great, and that it really helps to kind of glide it across your skin and then go in circular motions once you've got most of the product to then just blend it in a little further. But definitely you need a more dense brush with this foundation in order to make it really easy to blend. And if you do that, then it definitely is a lot easier than if you had used a sponge. So now, as far as wearing it throughout the week, what I did is the first day I was like, okay, great. It's for combo oily skin. Like, I don't have to do this song and dance of all of these crazy concoctions. This is awesome. So I didn't use a primer, I didn't set it, and I was a grease ball mess. And I only have combo skin. And I will preface this by saying that a lot of what was advertised on Instagram said that if you have dry skin, in order to use it, use a very hydrating moisturizer or to use a beauty oil along with it. And I will say, because the week prior I had kind of been lazy and not doing my skincare routine and my face broke out, I was using some acne treatment on my chin. And so I actually ended up having dry skin on my chin, which was actually really helpful for this, to be able to tell you guys a combination perspective and a dry perspective. So the first day that I didn't use any primer, everywhere else I was getting really oily, and then all in this area where I was dry, it was just clinging and creating these dry patches like no other. It was like a whole layer was on top that I could just kind of flake off, and it did not look cute. So I was like, okay, so it's totally true that it's not for people with dry skin unless you totally prep your skin really well. And it's not really for combo oily skin because I definitely have to do something else with it. I have to use a primer and I have to set it. So the next day, I decided to use a mattifying primer that's kind of a smoothing primer at the same time. So one day I tried the Dr. Brandt No Pores No More. That's a smoothing one and a filling one, and then I also tried the Cover FX mattifying primer. Both times I didn't really see a huge difference. The day that I saw a better result and more difference was the day that I used the Makeup Forever mattifying primer, which is the dark gray tube, and I set my face with the translucent powder. I found that I wasn't getting super duper oily, but it still clung to my dry spots, and that I really had to exfoliate my skin the night before in order for it to not look dry and patchy. But honestly, I'm used to doing all that stuff because I have combo skin. I'm sure people with combo oily skin are used to that, having to use a mattifying primer, having to set it. I just wasn't expecting to have to do that because it was meant for combo to oily skin. So I thought they had formulated it somehow to be better, that you didn't have to do all that crazy stuff. But I think it ended up being like any other foundation where if you have dry skin, you're going to really have to hydrate or use an oil if you want to use it. If you have combo oily skin, you're really going to have to use a primer and set it. So I honestly think that the best skin type for this foundation is people with normal skin, and you may not have to start doing all this song and dance. But the biggest reasons why I'm not absolutely crazy about this foundation is that once I found the right concoction of primer and setting it, I kind of got rid of the problems with the oiliness. But what I found is because it has that light medium coverage, that it was just breaking apart by the end of the day. By the time I got done with work, it was just breaking up and just shearing out and just completely disappearing, like in this areas of the face, totally on my forehead and in between my eyebrows, and then it was definitely shearing out right here. And it just felt like it wasn't maintaining its really beautiful finish. Like you'll see in the demo, right away, it looks really gorgeous. I think it looks pretty on the skin. And it was just kind of disappearing and really shearing out throughout the day. For those reasons, I was not crazy about it as a foundation, and because I've already tried the Hourglass foundation, if you take the price point out of it, the Hourglass foundation, in my opinion, is so much better. It's full coverage. It doesn't break up. It lasts all day. So I just think that the coverage is better. Now, if you're someone that has normal skin or you want to do the song and dance of using the right primers and all that, and you like a light coverage, then you may like this if you don't mind setting it, or if you don't mind powdering a couple times throughout the day, then I think you may like it. But if you have really oily skin and you don't want to have to do that all the time and you like a more full coverage or medium to high impact full coverage, this may not be the foundation for you. So now let's go ahead and talk about as far as highlighting and contouring, because I definitely like it a lot better as a contour stick. So the first shade I did pick up, Banana. You saw it in the demo. I think it looks really pretty down the bridge of the nose and like highlighting this area. I did like that. But underneath the eyes, I still felt like it was a light medium coverage, and it's not my desired coverage underneath the eyes. So when I wore this all week with the Banana shade, I still went in with a concealer. And to me, that just seems pointless. You would have bought a foundation to match your skin. You would have bought Banana for underneath the eyes and highlighting the face, and then I still was going in with concealer. It just felt like it was an additional product for no reason. So I'm not crazy on the Banana shade just because it just feels like an added product that I don't need. But again, if you're someone that likes that light coverage, you don't have dark circles, you don't need full coverage under there, then you could get away with using this instead of an additional concealer, and then you're only using 2 products instead of 3. So I think, again, it's just your preference. If you like lighter coverage, you would definitely like the Banana shade. It has a beautiful finish, and it's really pretty. Like I said, down the bridge of the nose, it looked so good and flawless. I really enjoyed it. Now let's talk about the contour shades, because these are interesting. There are 3 technical contour shades in the collection. There's Shadow, there's Fawn, which is the shade I have, and then there is Mink, which, by the way, I forgot to tell you, I will swatch them for you. I have the shade Beige is the one I was wearing in the demo, and then, no, excuse me, I was wearing Natural in the demo, which matches my body because I have a tan, and then I had tried Beige as well, and Beige was too light. Beige does match my face because my face is tanner than normal, but still less than my body. So those were the 2 shades I had been trying out. Ultimately liked Natural better. And like I said, I have the shade Fawn in the contour shades, and then the last shade was Mink. Now, these shades are as cool can get, and not just cool where it's a cool tone, like these are almost straight up gray. Now, I wasn't sure which one to pick, and I ended up picking up Fawn, but it doesn't matter. Like I said, I've seen some of them in stores. I went in stores and saw Shadow and Mink, and they're still very gray. They're just variations of deepness of the gray. So let me go ahead and show you what I mean, because you're gonna be like, oh, that's a really cool tone shade. So here's what the shade Fawn looks like, which I believe is the middle. I believe Shadow is the lightest contour shade, then it goes Fawn, and then it goes Mink. I'm pretty sure this is the middle, but it could be the lightest too. I can't remember for sure. But look how gray that is. I mean, if I swatch it, I mean, that looks really gray toned. And if you guys have been with me for a while, you know I love me some cool tones or neutral tones. Like, I love that. But when you put this on, I find that it's a tad too gray and muddy, that it's a little too cool toned and a little too gray for my preference. Now, as far as actually using it as a contour stick, you saw in the demo, it blends out just as easy as the foundations do. Same exact formula, really creamy, really easy to blend out. Definitely still use a dense brush. And I think it creates a beautiful natural contour. And what I like about these is they do dry to a powdered finish. The only reason I still have to set it is because of my combination oily skin, that it just doesn't work without setting this foundation. But for a contour, it does dry to a nice powder finish. And since I don't get oily there, I don't need to set it. If you get really oily there, you could still set it with a light contour powder, and I think you would be fine. But the only problem I have is I'm not crazy about these gray undertones, so I really love them. as a contour stick. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not crazy about it as a foundation. I'm not going to keep it as a foundation. I love that Hourglass one a lot better, and I don't, for me personally, need that banana shade. Like, it didn't give me the coverage that I desired, and so it just would be an additional step. And I'm going to return, well, I'm going to exchange the Fawn shade and go find another actual shade in the foundation of a darker shade that has a neutral undertone or a cool undertone, and I'm going to use that as my contour shade because I'm not a huge cream contour person. It's not usually my favorite thing to do. It's a little more high maintenance, and I find that then you also have to worry about it smearing and transferring throughout the day. But this is such a great formula for contouring. I don't have to set it since it dries to that powder finish, and there's a lot of colors, and it's really easy to blend and quick to do. And because of that, I'm in love with it as a contour stick. I think they're great. I just have to go find the right shade once they're in stores. Because right now I just find it looks a little bit too muddy since they are so gray, but overall as a foundation I'm not super crazy about it just because I think it's okay, and that I think there's a lot of work you have to do with it, and that only people with normal skin types are going to find this a really easy foundation to use, and then it's just a matter of preference of how much coverage you want. But if you have dry skin or combo oily skin, I think you're going to have to do a lot of work to make this foundation even work throughout the day. But ultimately, in my opinion, it just shears out and kind of just disappears and doesn't maintain that beautiful finish that I have in the first hour as it does, you know, 5 or 6 hours later. So I don't think it's long wearing. Unfortunately, I don't really enjoy this as a foundation, but as contour sticks, I think they are incredible and awesome, and they dry to a really nice powder finish, and they look really great. It's just a matter of finding the right shade that you like for a contour. So I hope you guys found this review, demo, and swatches helpful of the new Anastasia Beverly Hills stick foundations. If you did, give this video a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe so you can stay tuned to all my upcoming videos, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye!